One bloke gets peppered, laughs it off, and absolutely leathers 32 off and over like it's backyard cricket with the kids. That's Steve Smith. Instincts on, ego parked, scoreboard cooked. Another bloke cops the same heat, feels personally offended by life itself, and suddenly we've got arms folded, head shaking, and a world-class tummy spit. That's Babar Azam. Emotions driving, clarity in the backseat. Today's not a pylon though, it's a lesson. Know your game, act for the team, not your feelings. Trust your instincts, delay the sugar hit, stay in the zone. And understand this, the moment your ego gets loud, your performance usually shuts up. Because pressure doesn't break you, it removes the filter. I'm Ian Hawkins, and this is Sport is Life. The purpose of sport as I see it is to see your vision become a reality. Find your voice, create strong connections, and learn to trust your body. Extraordinary moment the other night. Steve Smith, in a 2020, in the Big Bash game, he declines taking a single when Babar Azam was on strike so that he can make sure he's got the strike for the start of the next over because he's going to take the power surge and he's got the short boundary to the leg side. And then the dummy spit from Babar. Interesting. And then also completely justifies the decision, Smith, when he dispatches the next over for 32. 4 sixes in a row to start the over. Again, extraordinary. And it just shows what is possible when you are at the absolute top of your game, so confident in what you're doing. So there's a couple of things to unpack with this particular incident. The first one is something that's been a point that's been highlighted by a lot of my guests on the interviews that I do, and that's that idea of knowing yourself. School motto at my high school, know thyself, and it's only sunk in later in life what that actually meant, how important it is to have an idea of who you are, what you do, what your capabilities are, and most importantly, as a performer, is knowing where your game is at, whether that's in sport or business, relationships, whatever it is, knowing where your game's at and knowing when to double down when things are going well. And that's exactly where Smith's game is. It's where it was on the night. He's had a great summer. He did have that moment of vertigo where he missed a test match, but other than that, he's churned out the runs. He's looked back to his best. Unbelievable. And he made a decision not based on ego, but rather based on the betterment of the team. He knew that if he could get to face that over, he knew who the bowler was going to be, and he knew the opportunity to score in bulk, and he did, for the betterment of the team, betterment of the outcome of the match. There's also a great lesson in trusting your instincts. Rarely do you see it in test matches, but rarely in limited overs or 2020s do you see any sort of run declined, because it often comes down to a single run, single moment. So he trusted his instincts. He knew that was the right thing to do. He'd already told Bubba that he was going to make sure he was on strike for that over when he took it. It also shows delayed gratification. Now that's a big one, particularly if you're educating young people, coaching them, or trying to make a point of, well, if we put in these hard yards now, if we do the work now, if we prepare ourselves mentally now, then it's going to pay dividends down the track. It might even be in the middle of a losing season, and it might be in the middle of a struggle through whatever you're going through, but knowing that you're doing the right thing in the moment, which might feel like a setback, because it's going to be paying you dividends in the future. It's one of the most powerful tools. It's also the most overlooked tool. People are looking for that instant gratification. They haven't got the patience. There's a great video where they explain it's a great precursor for children that are going to be successful and have the ability to overcome challenges and have resilience if they're prepared to sit there They did it. They did a study around it. Sit there in front of something they really want, like lollies or something that children want. If you sit here for this time while I'm gone, and don't take what it is, let's say a lolly, a sweet. When I come back, I'm going to give you 10 of them. Now, some kids will happily sit, and what a great trait. It means that they're wired for success. The vast majority don't. And it's the same with adults. It's the same with we just want now. And it takes strength and courage to be able to say, well, no, I'm going to park this and I'm going to do this now because I know it's going to pay dividends down the track. A Jim Rohn quote is like, I'm doing what few will do today so I can have what no one will have in the future, or words to that effect. And it's the same thing. He knocked back the run for what it's going to mean in that next over. Now, he also knew that he was in the zone. He was already on, I think he'd already hit 50. Maybe he was on late 40s. He knew he was in. He knew how well he was seeing the ball. And he's in the zone, right? So how do we find the zone? He had clarity of thought process. And that's also come from a summer of going through the ashes and being confident. He was calm. Again, he's shown that all year, despite the fact that physically you see him fidgeting and doing all these mannerisms. Internally, he's calm. He's not even aware of that. He said, if it makes people laugh and it's funny, then that works. But I'm not really aware that I'm doing it. And an interesting thing that I talked about in a post last summer, Greg Chappell was talking about how Steve Smith used to be someone who hit like thousands of balls. He just continued to be in the nets again and again and again, but he'd worked out that he needed to make a change, and so instead he was hitting far less balls, but he was spending a lot more time on the mental side of the game, a lot more time just in that state of just let's connect to something bigger than just the physical aspect. So he had that clarity of thought process, the calm. He'd been spending more time on the mental game, and he had the clear outcome. Now that's how you find flow. Now for Babar, his reaction was not what you'd expect in a team environment. It's what you get, but particularly at that professional level, he clearly wasn't happy. Smith's hitting sixes up the striker's end and he's at the non-striker's end, like almost refusing to look at him, not taking any pleasure in it whatsoever. He's the star import, so his ego's taking a hit, right? He's feeling a little bit aggrieved. And then he gets out not long after and smashes the boundary rope with disgust, and apparently doesn't come out for the when the teams are shaking out afterwards. Now, I can understand that, right? Like he might have been a bit embarrassed by his reaction. So maybe he thought, well, the best thing is just for me to stay inside now. So a couple of things also, like it showed something that's really important to have when you're in leadership, sport, business, family, the importance to have that emotional control, to stay calm in those moments. Internally, you might be having kittens, but you need to be able to stay calm. Have the conversation later, absolutely. But if you're a leader, which Babar is, he's a star import, you've got to stay calm in those moments. This is a learning experience for him. Also, interestingly, I read from one of the Pakistani greats, Rashid Latif. He's also made me think of one of the 12th Man characters. I keep my teeth in a jar beside the bed. One of the all-time greats. He was talking about it was a reality check for Pakistani cricket. He rattled off not just him, but there's a couple of other Pakistani imports that are playing at the moment. Ralph got taken out of the attack because he might have even been dropped. Initially, he just wasn't making an impact. He got taken out of the attack for bowling too many beam balls. He may well have been dropped because he wasn't performing. One of the other Pakistani batsmen actually got retired so the next batsman could come in who was going to get on with it. And Latif was just talking about how maybe we're a bit behind here. Like in Australia, it's all about high performance. If you're not up to it, then they'll find someone who is. It doesn't matter who you are. And so, yeah, interesting little reflection there from him, and maybe Babar's not quite up to it at like he scored a few runs. He's got a couple of 50s, but he's not scoring quickly. I noticed Mark Waugh and Brad Haddon overnight also saying after the Sixers' embarrassing failed chase on Tuesday night, saying that they thought maybe he should be dropped, bring in someone who's going to score more runs. So it's that same mindset. I don't care if you're the star import. Daniel Hughes is going to get more runs. Jordan Silk's going to offer more in the field, and with later runs, and we've got to win this tournament. So when there are these moments in sport, of course it's fun, it's entertaining, especially when Steve Smith goes and does something like that. Like, that's just such a great highlights package. But there's also lessons. So that's my challenge to you, is to think about what the things I've talked about today, the knowing yourself, always looking, well, what can I contribute? It's to the betterment of the team, not just about me. So it's that purpose beyond just yourself. Delayed gratification, trusting your instincts, finding your zone, learning emotional control, keeping your ego in check. They're all important aspects of life. So if you have that self-awareness and you watch the world through that lens, you can change anything. As always, share this with someone who you know will benefit from it. And if you haven't already, because I noticed on YouTube there's some of the videos have got like some pretty good numbers, and there's still a massive chunk of those people that aren't subscribed. So please do go and do that now. Really help us. We're trying a new thing, which was an episode earlier this week. League is life. We're going to do more NRL specific content for no other reason that it's a passion of mine and my co-host Steve's. But we also are getting feedback that people want to hear a bit of a different thought. They can't get enough of their footy and they want a different thought, so check that out as well. Give it a bit of love. If you see a post floating around the internet as well, make sure you give that some love, give it a comment. It helps us get in front of more people, and for that we'd be much appreciative. You've taken the time to listen to this whole episode. Now it's time to take action. Commit to one thing you've learned today and make it happen. And to avoid any obstructions, join the Sport is Life movement by clicking on the link in the show notes.